This episode is brought to you by Farmers Insurance. When was the last time you reviewed your insurance policy? So it's been a while, huh? Well, no worries. My friends at the Austin Brummett Agency would love to hear from you and provide you with some amazing rates. Give them a call at 678-402-8262 or email them at abrummett@farmersagent.com. That's ABRUMIT at farmersagent.com, and tell them Harli sent you. Insiders, Inside the Bubble with Harli G is now sponsored by BetterHelp. As a partner of this episode, listeners can access the BetterHelp link located in the show notes to receive 10% off your first month of therapy with BetterHelp and get matched with a therapist who will listen and help. Go to BetterHelp, that is BetterHelp.com/InsideTheBubble, the link to get started. You're listening to Inside the Bubble with Harli G, the podcast for the superwoman. Every week, we connect with amazing individuals who share their inspirational experiences and stories while motivating and inspiring purpose. It's time to hang your cape. Grab your coffee, your water, your cocktail, and come on in Inside the Bubble with me, your host, Harli G. Welcome, insiders, to Inside the Bubble with Harli G. I am working, as you may know, I'm working on a series, developing a series called Growing Up Immigrant, and having some conversations with individuals who are first generation immigrant and getting into conversations about their experiences coming over. And what I have found is that there's lots of similarities in our experiences, but there's a lot of different experiences as well. And today I have Tanya with me. Wait till you guys hear what Tanya does. She's fantastic. Anyway, so I have been stalking Tanya for probably about 8 years now.
Yeah, it's been about that.
It's been that long.
Yeah.
I've literally been like, wherever Tanya goes, I'm right down there. I just like follow her. And she has an amazing accent. I would marry her if I could. But anyway, so I have Tanya with me today, and Tanya, you'll hear this soon, like I said, she has an amazing accent, but Tanya is English.
I am. Hello.
Oh my gosh. And she's gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Thank you.
But so you grew up in England.
I did, yes.
Wow. Okay,
I
so
did.
what was that like?
So I was born and raised in a little town called Epsom in Surrey, which is just kind of south of London.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like being in the suburbs.
Suburbs. Okay.
Yeah. So you can work in London, you can go out in London, but you're not in London.
Got it.
I had a really lovely upbringing there. I can't really moan at all about much.
Okay.
Apart from the weather, which is
that's probably really cold over there.
It's just like like today.
Yeah.
It's just a little overcast.
Okay.
We just have more of that weather than we do of bright sunny blue sky days. But anyhow, so yeah, growing up there I was very fortunate. I feel very blessed to have had the upbringing that I had.
And you have I know you have a brother, but is that it?
I have two brothers.
One
older and one younger.
Oh, so
yes.
you're in the middle.
I'm the middle child.
You're the
I'm
girl. You're the only girl, and you're in the middle.
I was spoiled from both ends. I was spoiled from my mum and spoiled from my dad in a good way, though.
Okay, did you terrorize your brothers?
No, I think it was the other way around.
Sure.
No. You know what it is? It's always the older one terrorizes the middle one, and then the middle one gets terrorized the younger. So it was kind of like a little train.
Yes, I wonder if my sisters are listening now. If that's the case.
I bet you it was the case.
But I think sorry, Lily, but I think with my middle sister, we both terrorized her. She got it from
really?
both ends. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I feel sorry.
Was there a big age gap between you?
Well, okay, so I'm the oldest, and between me and Lily, we're 4 years apart.
Okay.
But Lily and Gabby are 14 months apart. Surprise!
Oh, wow.
My mom went in for a checkup, and
That's your mom.
there you are. Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're called, what are they called? Irish twins, I guess.
Okay.
Because if they're, a certain
Really
age
close.
apart, they're really close. Anyway, but yeah, so it was very, and my middle sister, shortly after she was born, because it was a lot for my mother was going through nursing school at the time, she actually ended up sending my sister to Haiti.
Oh,
and
wow.
to her brother. And so in essence, she was raised by our uncle for probably the first 4 years.
Oh, wow.
So when she came back home, me and my youngest sister were like, who is this?
Yeah, you
Because we had no recollection of her at all.
Oh.
Like, we were just like, who is this person? She doesn't look like us. Because me and my youngest sister, we favor our mother, and she favors our dad.
Yeah.
So even the skin coloring is a little bit different, and so we were just kind of like
confused for a minute.
Did we just adopt her?
Yeah.
It was just, it was definitely a transition. Sorry about that. Love you. Okay, yeah. So, she was, the quiet one of the three, and while me and my youngest sister are just rambunctious, she was always like the conscious of the group. Like,
Gotcha. Yeah.
like, guys, should we think about this? And we were like, no, we're just going in.
Let's just do it.
Exactly.
Let's just dive in.
Anyway, yeah. So you're the only girl.
Yeah.
What about like playing together? You have two brothers. Did you feel
I was
like
very much. I think that is why I'm a girl's girl, but I love hanging with guys too because I had two brothers.
Yes.
So, we did like more boys stuff than girls stuff. If I did girl stuff, it was like just by myself or with as I got older with friends. But me and my brothers were always out in the garden making obstacle race courses. Like we were outdoors doing out on our bikes. Just doing like more rougher stuff.
I mean, and then back then we didn't have social media, right? So it's like a total.
I feel so fortunate
yes.
to have grown up in a world without social media through those hard, young teen years, older teenage years, and then through your early 20s. We had a mobile phone, right? It wasn't what it is now.
It wasn't big,
it wasn't a big thing.
Yes.
I think
we had beepers.
Yes, pages. I never got into it, but people did have that. But I was never a pager girl.
Oh my gosh.
I remember thinking I wanted one and I never got one, but I think I was like 15 when I got my first mobile phone. And it was just a mobile phone. Yeah. You remember when you had to
was it the flip or which one was it?
No, it was like the first kind of like block phone.
Oh,
where it wasn't a flip. They came a bit later.
Yes.
But when you sent a text and you had to push the button 3 times to get to the A?
Yes!
So it took ages to write one word.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe we did that.
Yeah. And that was the first. But it was just a case of, just making a phone call. And that's what we used it for.
Right.
So, going out, we were involved. We were engaged.
Yes.
We were present.
Yes.
Our eyes were always up at normal level.
Right.
We weren't down,
always down
like this, missing the world go by. So I feel really like, I feel just happy that I had that.
That we had those experiences growing up.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And the kids of today will never know a world without it because how could we live without it now? Now that we're used to it.
Oh my gosh.
It's like part of our world, isn't it?
Yes.
So to grow up, I grew up through the 80s.
And
the 80s baby. Yeah, I was an 80s baby.
So did you have like the bangs? The big flare bangs?
No, see, I was born in 81.
Ah,
so
okay.
I was a baby and a young girl through most of the 80s, and then sort of, was more obviously teenage through the 90s.
Then it was the 90s.
Yeah, then it was the 90s. So it was like I had this. We still had the scrunch.
Yes,
socks.
we did.
Like
I wore like 2 different pairs, like in 2 different colors, and
shell tracksuits.
Yes.
I don't know if I remember loving my shell tracksuits. Just So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
It was fun time.
Okay,
So.
bring back the 90s. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
bring back the 90s.
Yeah,
The
let's
music was
let's
great
get our
then.
time machine.
Oh
Go
my
back.
gosh,
Music,
it was awesome.
phenomenal.
Amazing.
Yeah, the 80s and the 90s.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
You know, and I'm sure in years to come we'll reflect back on today's music and think that it was phenomenal
It was-
today. You know,
Our kids will be like,
that's
music
the
was
pattern,
great,
isn't it? Yeah.
Are you
I don't
serious?
view it as phenomenal today as what
As
it was back then.
then.
But I
Yes.
think that is the circle of life, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is.
Grandparents
And
probably.
we retro, right? So like we're seeing some of the through fashion, through music sometimes, how those old fashion trends or trends are coming back. They come back full circle, like you said.
They
Like
do.
bell bottoms.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, bell bottoms back then, you were like, ooh.
I
God,
remember
what
them
were
being
they
in fashion
thinking?
when I was a younger teenager.
Yeah.
And then they've circled back now.
Yes,
And
exactly.
then there are just things that are constant, like denim.
Yes.
I don't think denim will ever
go out of
go
style.
out.
I don't
Whoever
think so.
invented denim, you're like...
Bless you.
Yes, very much so. Because everybody loves their jeans, right?
Exactly.
But-
oh, absolutely.
But
Can't
yeah,
really like
so just going back to the upbringing in
Mhm.
England, I just feel very fortunate to have had that. And you know, it was very interesting to touch on having an experience and living here in America and seeing how it is to live in another country. Because visiting a country and living in
It's two
it's
different
very
things.
different. And
Yes.
I had always looked at America and England as very similar,
Mm-hmm.
and they are not.
Mm.
The only thing that we really have in common is we speak the same
The same
language.
language. Right.
You know, and
Uh-huh.
you'd think though when I speak that I am talking another language
Mhm.
because I do definitely get a lot of people that are like, I don't understand you. I'm sorry, what did you say?
What?
Yeah, that does happen.
Wow.
And that's fine because
Mhm.
they're listening to the accent more than
Yes.
listening to my words.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's the big thing that we have in common is that we
Mhm.
speak the same language. But in
Mhm.
terms of just
Culture.
and just I don't know,
Mhm.
everything. And the
Yes.
one thing that I notice that changes the dynamics of everything
Okay.
is the size. So size is everything, right?
Oh.
So England is just this tiny little place.
Really? It feels
That's
like it feels
seen
so
and
much bigger.
That is what's
than that.
incredible. Everyone says that to me.
Okay.
Because when you look up the population in
Mhm.
England versus what it is in America,
Mhm.
I mean, opposite ends of the scale, which
Wow.
gives you a scale of just like how little England is.
Yeah.
I think, I haven't checked this fact myself, but someone once said to me, I think England itself is like, I think a little bit smaller than Georgia.
What? No.
So when you think of that, we are tiny in
Yeah.
comparison to America. And so where you have more people, you have
Mhm.
more of everything,
Mhm.
which is why people say there's so much more opportunity here.
Here.
Well, of
yes.
course there is. There's more people.
Yes, exactly.
So you have more opportunity in
Yes.
anything that you choose
Right.
to take on here.
Yeah.
And then obviously more crime. More
Mm-hmm.
people, more crime.
Right.
And just the variety of life in general itself is everything.
Yeah.
And then in England, everything is obviously a lot less and a lot smaller
Yeah.
and more compact
Mhm.
because it's so tiny.
Yeah.
But that one huge difference
Yes.
is what makes all the other differences so much more opposite
Okay.
in terms of what happens in England to what happens
Yeah.
here. But it's been it's definitely a very interesting journey
Mm-hmm.
to have lived here. And people always say to me, you know, where would you prefer to live?
Mm.
Because they say to me, you're from England, what are you doing here?
Yeah. Oh.
I get that a lot. Why are you here of all places? Why are you here in
Yeah.
Atlanta?
Mm-hmm.
Now, well, firstly, I met my husband
Yes.
who's from here,
Right.
and that's what brought me here.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to choose a place to live, I mean, I prefer life here in
Mhm.
terms of I love the weather. I do love the opportunity.
Mhm.
I love the fact that you can get in your car and drive 6 hours and be on a beautiful beach.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can drive to a mountain and go hiking.
Mhm.
And just, again, your options are,
Yes.
are much wider here.
Yes.
And there is not those options as much. If you want to, you can jump on an airplane and
Mhm.
go anywhere
Yeah,
in Europe.
right,
Because
right.
people say, yeah, but you've got the whole of Europe.
Yes.
But yeah, that does, you've got to get on an airplane and
Right.
upheaval of all of that.
Yes.
So there's less of everything. But if I could scoop up my family and my friends
and move them here
and dump them here, then that would be the ideal situation.
Okay.
But obviously,
yes.
what always draws me back to England is obviously my family, my friends, and that whole side of me that I thoroughly miss every minute of every day.
Pure Necessity is a lifestyle service offering career and leadership development, real estate resources, and motivational speaking to jumpstart your legacy building. While I am happy to work with anyone looking to build their legacy, I have a heart and passion for young professionals. Why? Because I've been right where you are, trying to forge my path without clear direction, yet a burning desire to do and have more. If you are ready to position yourself for abundance, visit my website at purenecessity.life. Your legacy is essential.
But it was my choice to move here, and I'm a great believer in when you make a choice, you bear the consequences of your choice.
Okay.
So that is it. I miss my family and friends, but I have created a wonderful life here. Yeah. And now I feel fortunate that I have two homes.
Yes.
And I do. I really feel like this is a home. It is my home, which is a lovely feeling. And I have a son and he's 5 and we're raising him here. But, I want him to be able
to go back.
We're going to go to England. I want his childhood memories to be going to England and spending however much time of the summer months there, spending time with my parents, my brothers, my family, my sister-in-laws and his cousins and stuff. So he's fortunate, I see. He's going to have 2 homes.
Yes, that you'll have those memories and those experiences, right?
Yeah, I want him to understand both cultures. Yes. The English culture and the cultures here.
It's really important to know your history, your culture, because it's such a big part of who we are as individuals.
It allows you to understand who you are, where you came from. Yeah.
So, I hear that you really want to build that experience and that life for him. What were some of your fondest memories growing up? Like some of the memories that you're like, that will be with me forever. What are some of those memories?
Most of my wonderful childhood memories are, I still dream about the house we were raised in.
Oh, you told me a little bit, we had a conversation, but you told me a little bit about that house.
Yeah, the house I still dream about that house and the memories of us being a family. Unfortunately my parents divorced when we were in our young adults. I was in my early 20s. So that it makes those childhood memories even
better.
Yeah, you hold on to them more. Yes. Because that was when you were all a unit. Yes. You were all close and bonded and together. And so I have wonderful memories of my parents and them being in love and just enjoying life with their 3 children. And when it was sunny, we really was outside all the time. Yes. To the park. And those were days it wasn't, I suppose crime was there, but it wasn't crazy. Yes. As in your face as it is now. Is that yeah. I wouldn't let my son do the things that my parents let me do. It was off on my bike and off we went and we were riding. Gone all day and you just had to be in before it got dark. Exactly. And if you were in after dark, you were in trouble. Yep. But memories of just spending lots of time outside, going to the park, spending time in the park. And then as I got older with my friends, parks were our main source of socialising. Okay. So you were either at the shops or you were in a park. Oh. So that was where we hung out. Which park were we going to meet at? And we would, meet at different parks, change the scenery. Yes. I love it. If you're too young to go to a pub, because obviously the pub culture is huge in England. Another thing that I do thoroughly miss. Okay. Do miss the pub culture. Because it is a part of our life. I've seen it in some movies where it's like, I forgot what movie it was, but it was a movie with Deborah Messing, and she hired like an escort because she was going to her sister's wedding and she didn't want to go by herself, and then went back to England. And one of the things that they did, like during the bachelorette party,
is they went pub hopping.
Yes.
And they had like some sort of can of bowl, and people would put money in there or something. It was. I don't know if that was made up by the movie or if that's actually a thing.
We do a lot of pub crawls.
Oh.
Yeah, that does happen.
Okay.
A lot. Yeah. Special occasions and things like that. But you know, so I always say, for here you've got a church on every corner. But in England you've got a pub on every corner. You know, you look everywhere here, there's a church. Whilst in England, I would say growing up, that's how it used to be. A lot of them have closed down now. There's not as many as what they used to be. I don't know if, you know, bars and other coffee shops and things have kind of taken over. But yeah, so pubs were a huge part of our upbringing. So I remember as a child, so every Sunday, everything was shut when I was a kid. So through the 80s, you there wasn't anywhere to go. There might be the local like newspaper shop that was open until like midday, but that was it. And pubs. Oh. But even pubs closed at 3. I think they closed in the afternoon. That was where, so Sunday morning, my dad would take us on bike rides, and me and my brothers and my dad would go on a cute little bike ride. We'd go stop at the store. My dad would let us get Sunday sweets, and we'd get Sunday sweets. Then we'd come back home. My mum would be getting Sunday dinner ready, which I'm sure you've heard of as Sunday roast dinner. So that's what we would have every Sunday. My mum made it. At 3 o'clock on the dot, that's what time it was. And then we would all, before that, we would all go down the pub with my parents, and all the other parents would bring their children. What? So all the parents would be drinking and chatting and laughing, and the kids would be playing, and in the summer we'd be out in the pub garden or out the front of the pub. We'd have a bottle of Coca-Cola and a packet of crisps or a packet of chips, and that was it. It was you play with your friends, and the adults were playing with their friends, and the children were playing with their friends.
Wow!
We'd be there for a couple of hours, so that was a huge part of my of my upbringing, really. Which is odd because here I've learned, you know, children and alcohol. No, but that was, we were raised around that. I remember my parents being drunk.
But then I feel like there isn't, so my parents were, we grew up in Montreal, Canada. And so part of, we adapted to some of the French culture from there.
Of course.
Growing up there. And one of that was French Canadians love wine. And so they actually drink wine with every meal.
Yeah.
I'm talking about breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Yeah.
Right? So I grew up with my parents drinking wine.
For sure.
When they were having meals. And it was normal. And it was just like when I got to college and a lot of the kids were like,
wow,
you know, oh my gosh, alcohol, and oh, it's my time and I can be free. And I was just like, what's your problem? Like, really? Like,
I always
they really
thought that.
Yes.
When I started learning that parents were like anti-alcohol around their children, I was like, it doesn't make any sense. So you deprive a child of even looking at alcohol or seeing you with alcohol, then you send them off to college on their own. What are they going to do? What's the first thing you're going to do?
They're going to drink some alcohol. They're going to find it.
Then they're going to be with friends. They're going to be with people that they can't be trusted really. In environments where stuff can go wrong.
Exactly.
So I always say, you know what? Before your child goes off to college, you better get them slap drunk. Yeah. So that they are puking their guts up the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that they experience that in your safe care.
Environment.
Know your limits.
Yes,
I understand that you're going to experience these things and I need you to understand how to handle it.
Yeah.
So you don't get yourself in any trouble. And you don't go off going,
yes,
oh my God, I've got to...
You're going nuts over it now, and then you...
So we grow up with it in our culture.
Yes.
My dad used to bring me Baileys, mini bottle, you know, the miniatures?
Yes.
He used to bring me those miniatures, and I'd be like, oh,
it's my treat.
Yeah.
It's my treat.
Like it just wasn't, it wasn't a huge, I mean, it was a huge thing. And obviously when you turn 18 in England, you can drink legally, which is younger than what it is here. So you're considered an adult at 18, you know, you're driving and you're able to drink and it's off you go.
On the right side of the street, oh man.
Yeah, it's total opposites.
I
that's
know.
A huge, yeah, that's definitely.
That was like, we're gonna talk about that.
To.
We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that always was very interesting to me. And I was like, would I just completely be like, could I even wrap my head around that? Like if I had to do it?
It's the other side of the car and the other side of the road. So And then a lot of the cars are manual in England. They're not.
Yes, no, I
so
actually learned
manual.
Like that was my first experience driving. Like my mother had a
Everybody
manual
does
car.
it manual in England because then you can drive either.
Oh,
if you take your test in an automatic, you can only ever drive an automatic.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Okay. So here you can test with either and you have your license and you can drive either.
That
but
makes
I
sense
did not know
considering the way people drive here.
That's
a whole podcast.
Exactly.
For a whole another day.
We don't have enough time for
the
that.
difference in driving.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
Yes.
My mom doesn't take the interstate at all.
I don't
no
blame
matter
her.
where she's going.
It took me...
She takes a local route everywhere.
I don't blame her. I think it took me a couple of years to drive on the interstate here myself.
I mean...
So when I first moved here...
How old were you when you moved here?
So I met my husband when I was like 24.
Okay.
Ish. And then it took us a few years before I moved here. So I was sort of like 27, 28.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so I obviously wasn't driving when I first came here, and then I was like, let me get my license, which was weird because I was like, oh my God, I've got to take my... And taking your license in England is a huge deal. It's costly, it's very involved.
Really?
And it's, you take your test out on the road.
Yes.
You don't do it in a parking lot with cones.
Got it, okay.
You actually have to do all the manoeuvres on the street,
like
everything.
On the street, yes.
Yeah. And it's not easy to pass. So anyhow, I realised here it was definitely very much easier here and much cheaper. I think it was $20.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not that.
I mean, it's hundreds in England. I don't know what it is today. When I was taking lessons, it was £12 a lesson for 1 hour. So I used to pay 24. So £12 would probably be about, I don't know, like 17, 18, maybe around like 17, 18, $19, depending on what is doing. But so you would always do a double lesson, so it would be £24. I believe now it's like £24, £25 for 1 hour.
Wow!
But everybody takes lessons in it. You don't get taught by your parents.
Yeah.
Or your aunt, or your uncle, or your brother or sister. Everybody has lessons.
Okay.
And then you might practice on the side with your family, but everyone pays for lessons.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm sidetracking.
No, it's okay.
But yeah, so it's much harder. So it was much easier for me to get my license. Got my license, started driving. I avoided the highway totally because it was very daunting because you've got 5, 6, 7 lanes on each side.
And you're going like 3 fast.
Yes. So I avoided it at all costs. You didn't have sat navs on your phone when I was first driving here.
Oh yeah.
You didn't have all the. It wasn't the technology. Wasn't what it was.
We didn't have that.
I think people had TomToms. Do you remember TomToms?
Yes, I do.
Like one of the first.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I remember TomToms and Garmin.
I didn't even have that. So I used to read a road map.
Yes, we legit.
That's
when
how
I
we
moved
got
to
around.
college, my parents, I went to college in Alabama.
Yeah.
And we were coming from Miami. So we bought an
atlas
book.
An atlas book.
Yes, that had state by state.
Had
all 50 states.
Yeah.
And it had all the roads. And you literally...
You followed yourself on the map, and then you had to go, when you got to the end of the page, turn to page 56.
Exactly.
So what I used to do... So I had an A to Z of London, right?
Oh my gosh.
So it was just a little book. I had it in my car, and so I used to go on auditions and things, right? For all kinds of different things. And I used to have to go to these random places in London. And that's how I learnt my way around. And I would have it, and I would sit at home and go, right, I've got to get from here, and this is my last point. Yeah. And I used to put little pieces of tabs of paper on the next page I had to turn to. So I'd be driving.
That was so safe.
Right, okay, no, listen.
Oh my God.
Of course, it wasn't.
That's what we had. And then we got MapQuest. I don't know if you. Okay, so we got MapQuest. MapQuest was on the computer. So it was on the computer. Right. It was, and listeners, y'all can correct me, but it was in the age of AOL. So when AOL was emerging. Okay. Right. We had MapQuest. So you could actually now go on a computer, put your beginning address and
your
end,
end,
and then it would just like write out like you're gonna take I-75 for 15 miles, and then you're gonna exit. It would just write out the direction.
You could print it out.
Exactly, so you could print it.
I did that when I first got here.
Got it.
I would print out the directions to wherever it was. I remember having to take my to get my esthetician license. I had to take my state board, and then they didn't have one in Atlanta.
What's bubbling, insiders? When was the last time you felt you could be still long enough to enjoy some much needed me time or have the flexibility to create more memories with your loved ones? Better yet, when have you felt like you didn't have to stress about a project deadline or getting something done around the house? You probably tell yourself all the time, there just isn't enough time in a day. Besides our health, time is our most precious asset. Well, I know something that can help you get some of your time back. Inside the Bubble with Harli G is announcing its partnership with Bliss Virtual Services. They specialize in project-based virtual support as well as ongoing support for in-demand professionals, careerpreneurs, and busy parents. Go to my website, www.insidethebubblewithharlig.com, subscribe to the mailing list. On Monday, July 10th, you will receive a link and unique code to access a private page on Bliss Virtual Services website. Once inside, you will be able to select from their various plans at a special rate only offered to insiders. So if you're not on my mailing list, go subscribe now.
Take my practical test, and I had to drive, and it was my first big drive, like without my husband being with me, and I remember being petrified. And then I remember doing it and thinking, okay,
not so bad.
Okay, yeah, because I've always been a very confident driver.
But like you said, it's daunting, right? Knowing that. Oh,
it is.
Oh my gosh.
Again, it's a big difference. So more space,
yes,
more roads,
exactly.
Yeah, and so.
And here, and the thing is, in Florida, the street names are numbers, so it's easy, and they're in order. Yeah. You start at 2nd Avenue, you gotta go all the way to 56th Avenue. Okay, all right. But here you have names.
Yeah.
So you're just like.
Well, that's the same in London.
Okay.
I mean, London is like a spaghetti tree. Just and this road is a no entry. This is a one way, and this is, and then you've got all the buses and the.
Yes.
So if you, I always say, if you can drive and get around London, you can pretty much drive anywhere in the world, because London is insane to be confident and drive around.
Okay.
Because it's very daunting.
Yeah.
But
what is as far as culture? We talked a little bit about culture earlier, but like as far as culture, what was the biggest eye opener for you when you transitioned here?
The level of racism. Ooh. To dive straight into it, the difference, and not to say that it doesn't exist in England, but I started to become aware of my colour when I moved to America. I don't feel like I was ever aware of the colour of my skin when I lived in England. And I come from a predominantly white town. It just was never a thing, ever. I think I remember one thing happening when I was a teenager, and it wasn't even that bad. And that was it. That's the only like slight bit of racism I've ever felt. And then I was the brown girl in the ring at school. It wasn't malice. It wasn't horrible. I felt lucky.
Yeah.
And they were all dancing brown girl in the ring, la 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 la, because I was the brown girl in the ring, which sounds awful. But it wasn't done in a mean way. But that was it.
It sounded like it was celebrated.
It was.
There.
Well, in that moment, it was right. Oh, Tanya, you be the brown girl in the ring.
Yes, because you're actually brown.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Facts are facts,
exactly.
right? But yeah, then when I came here, and it wasn't like I personally experienced lots of racism, but just being around my husband and his family and learning their journey and what they've been through here and the battles and just the difference in treatment. And it slowly was pointed out to me, and I was like, oh, I would never have noticed that. It would have gone over my head. I wouldn't have even taken it that way.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't
It wasn't
a part of my world.
Yes, exactly.
My dad is from Zimbabwe.
Okay.
So he's half English, half Zimbabwe. So my grandma was from Zimbabwe and my granddad is white English on my dad's side.
Okay.
So I wish my grandma was alive today so that I could actually have a conversation with her about how it was to be married to a white man through the 50s and 60s. In England. And so they raised my dad in Zimbabwe till he was 4.
Okay.
And then brought him over to England.
Okay.
And again, just raised in the hometown that we all still live in now. And I said to my dad, my mum's white.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. And so I said to my dad once, you know, Dad, did you really ever experience any like racism, segregation, anything? And my dad was like, never. He loved his childhood. My dad talks about his childhood in a very fond way. He was the only black person in his school. I think he said he remembers maybe a couple of other Indian children, maybe, but everyone else was white. That's, you know, but never one bit.
Wow.
He had a group of friends and they enjoyed their upbringing through the 70s and had a wonderful time. Well, not even through the 60s and 70s. And here's the difference in the timeline. So my husband, there's a big age gap between me and my husband, and so he was raised as well through the same era, but in Greenville, South Carolina. And
that's
so
the South, y'all.
My husband's stories of his upbringing versus my father's are like two different worlds, two different time zones. Yes. Anyone would think you'd gone back in time when you hear my husband's stories, but my dad's so on the same timeline, but we're in two different places. Yeah. And that stood out to me, hearing those two different upbringings. I was like, wow, that's how America's just still more behind. Still got some more catching up to do where that's concerned. And it will come, and it is coming. Yeah. And I have to look at it that way. Yeah. I have to, because
you have a boy. You have a little boy.
I have a boy. And he is I don't know what the correct word is today, of mixed heritage.
Multicultural?
Mixed culture.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm going to offend anyone in how I say it. But my little boy is a little mixed pot, as I am. Yes. Just, we all are.
Yes, exactly.
On the inside, everyone is. Exactly. It's just how, you're portrayed on the outside. So, he is going to be raised here, and I am going to have to raise him probably much differently to how I would if we was in England. Yeah. Because I'm going to have conversations with him that I know I wouldn't have had if he was in England. Exactly. And again, I'm not taking away from the fact that there is racism in England and people's experiences may have been very different. I'm only basing this off of my experience and my father's stories. I'm sure there are lots of friends and family that have had terrible experiences in England. I'm just basing this off of my journey. That's all I have to go on. Right. That's all we can do. Yeah, that's all we can do. And so two very different worlds where that's concerned. So culture, I think where England is so tiny and everyone just has to get on with it. Right. So in England, there is tons of Africans. There's tons of people from the Caribbean. There's tons of people from India. There is a mixed bag of everybody there. There isn't space or time. There is not the space to be like, okay, this group of people are here, and you get your clans. Yes. Like, okay, that's where all the Jews generally live in certain areas. Right. But for the most part, everybody's just mixed in with everyone. Yeah. And lots more interracial relationships.
Wow.
I'm very accustomed to seeing a black person with a white person, an Indian person with a white person, or whatever.
Yes, combination. Yes.
Right?
Right.
And then when I came here, I really saw that a lot less.
Yes.
Way less when I first came here. I feel like I see it more now.
Okay. Yes. Absolutely.
But so I've been here for like 14 years. So those, a lot's changed in 14 years. But I remember thinking, well, you don't really see. I don't see that many. Yeah. But you see it much more.
You see it much more now. We when I met my husband in 2004, and we live in Douglasville, Georgia, and we would joke about how we were surrounding us in our environment. We were one of the few mixed couples because we were just like. Yeah, there isn't a whole lot of, mixed couples that we could see or whatever. And by the time we left, 12 years later, we were like, is this where all the mixed couples are going to live? No. I mean, it was just like, it was nice to, first of all, it was nice to see. It was nice to see that, people are just, you love who you love. It doesn't matter. It is what it is,
love
right?
Doesn't have
a color. It doesn't have an age. It doesn't have a gender. It doesn't. Love is love, right? Yeah. And so it was great to see that. And one of the things that so my husband and I, we're very open when it comes to us being different. Like we joke about this, but my husband says that he's more black than I am. Yeah. He was raised in Detroit, Michigan, okay? In the ghetto. Right. So his experience is like very different. Coming from Poland and then landing in Detroit and you're living in the ghetto and you're the only white guy.
Oh, wow.
So that's his experience, right? Yeah. I was born and raised in Montreal, Canada, went to a private Catholic school. I was one of 3 black kids.
So now I can see why he says.
You see what I'm saying? And so when I think God got the color wrong. I'm just saying, because
the mixes are wrong.
It's like what's happening? But just being, and we still, I don't know if you do, but it's a constant awareness of each other's experiences. Yeah. So it's like, I have to keep telling myself, because obviously when I look at my husband, I don't see his color. I see him, right? And then we might be going through a certain experience or something, and you're like, how can you not understand what I'm trying to tell you? And then
there's the difference in the culture.
Exactly. And then you just like, oh. The light bulb goes off, but oftentimes you're not associating any particular event or experience or whatever based on their color. You see them for who they are, and so these little pop-ups might come up, and you're like, okay,
all right, that's why this is happening.
That makes sense, right?
Well, exactly. I had to do an awful lot of that when I first moved here because I had to get used to the culture, the American way.
Yes.
And not just the American way, but then the Black African way. It's so different. I was raised in I suppose you could say a more white environment, and although I had my grandma, we spent every weekend with my grandma, which I cherish those memories as well. We spent most weekends with my grandma. Well, the evenings. My parents were young parents and went out every Friday and every Saturday night. And my grandma and granddad lived literally down the street.
Oh, wow.
So we got dropped off Friday about 6 o'clock.
And then pick you up
My mum and dad would come and pick us up after they'd nursed their hangover on Saturday morning. And whatever day. I remember calling them from the landline.
Yes, we had phones back then at home.
And I'd be like, Mom, are you coming to pick us up? Where are you? Like, we're bored at Grandma's now. But we spent a lot of time with my grandma. So really, she's the only person that where I was immersed in the black side of my culture. Because, everyone else around me, other than my father, was white. And my dad... My dad had a brother, and he does have a brother and a sister, but they were from a previous marriage. Okay. And he wasn't raised with them. And they were white. I believe one lives in California and one lives in South Africa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he doesn't really have any ties to them. But, yeah, so I really wasn't raised with much of my Black culture, and so I learned a lot more about Black culture when I came here.
What about your husband? So how does your husband kind of come into that and helps you with that?
Well, it just breaks a lot of things down for me and explains a lot of things. And I think with him being older and just more patient and more understanding, he understood that, oh, she doesn't understand this. Yes. I need to break this down to her, you know? So, and he's a very patient, kind person, and yeah, so that's how we would get through it. And I always felt very comfortable to ask him any question, be like, honey, like, why is this way, or why does that, you know? And so those first few years of really sort of trying to understand it, so my husband plays golf, and he taught me golf. That's one of the things we did together, because we couldn't work because I didn't have any visas.
Yes, a work permit.
So we just spent tons of time together. I cherish those memories. And we would go play golf, and that would be like, you know, we'd drive past and be like, well, there is this golf course, but that's Black people can't play that golf course. They're not allowed to be a member. They can play, but they can't be a member. And I was like, I'm sorry, what day and age is this really happening? And he was like, yeah. He was like, that's not a golf course that Black people play at in today's world. And so when you have things like that happening, you're like, oh, well, that explains a lot why the people that are racist can still hold strong on their thoughts and their feelings, because there is a community of people that support it.
That supports that.
Yeah, so if you have people that support it, you're not the odd one out. You feel brave enough to carry on with your method of thinking.
Yes, exactly.
And so lots of like differences, like lots of eye-openers, and understanding church and religion here, and wrapping my head
So how did you grow up? So as far as like faith and church and religion, how did you...
I didn't really grow up with any, like, you know, we say, you know, and this happens, I think this happens a lot in England, where I didn't grow up going to church, nor did any of my friends. The school that I went to was an all-girls school. The high school was an all-girls high school, and it was a Christian school, and we would go to church at Easter and Christmas, which we found super boring. Have you seen church in England?
No, I have not. I have
standard white church. Look it up online, you'll understand.
Okay.
I don't go that much compared to like a Black church. You know, it's singing and dancing and praising and you know, a huge thing that I went to here. Yeah. And I was like, I remember going to my first funeral here. Oh my God, I wanted to write a book on that. I wanted to do a movie. I wanted to be like, oh my God, this is mind blowing. This is a funeral. Yes. Like, it was a celebration, true celebration. Yes. They had a live band. Yes.
Was
singing
where was
music.
it? Louisiana?
No, this was here.
It was here. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. My husband's father's funeral. Yes. I mean, I came out of that. I looked at him. I was like,
you're like, I'm gonna do it again.
I felt like I was just in a dream. Was in the hood and we arrived, and I was like, well, this is going to be different. And my husband had been to my grandma's funeral, so he knows how our funerals are there. Everyone wears black, is a sign of respect. Yes. And it's just very quiet and very calm, and a time to mourn and be sad, and then basically we go and get really drunk. So that we all go back to wherever the wake is, and everybody gets absolutely wasted. Yes. Yeah, we drink and we laugh, and that's when we have our fun. Right. But in church, it's just the organist is playing a song, the out tune a little, and you know, that's it. So it's again a huge difference. Yes.
So when you came here, what did your faith or whatever, what did that transition to? What is it now?
It definitely grew. Okay. Because I learned more about it. And I learned, like my husband grew up obviously like in the church, in bed, yes. But he is very open-minded, and he is very strong with his faith. Not your traditional way of, I don't know how do I explain this, where he's just more open-minded about it. It's not so closed-minded with the religion. Like, this is the only way, and if you do this, then this is sin, and you know, not strict with it. All those rules and regulations and things that to me take away from the faith, from the actual relationship. Yeah, and that's what scares people off when they say, I can't believe in that, because it's part of that. Yes. Oh, what? So if I fall in love with another same sex, then I go to hell. I don't want to play no part of that. Right. You know, why would you want to? So he's very well. So he broke it down and explained a lot of things to me about how it is here, and taught me a lot about really Christianity, because I didn't really know that much at all. And yeah, so we don't have a church that we go to, but you know, our faith is here and here. Okay. And we keep it rolling. Yeah. You know? And that's how we are with it. Would we go to church? Yeah, we would. But I don't know. I think, again, another thing I learned here was, I was like, I'm sorry, tithing? What now? Oh. What's that? What's that concept? Oh, so you want to see my paycheck stub? Oh, and no. Percentage? No. I heard that some churches do that.
That is...
And that to me...
I'm flabbergasted.
That was really like...
No.
I don't get that.
I wouldn't be able to do that. And I'm a person that was raised in a church. Like, we went... private Catholic school, I was taught by nuns. Wow. Listen. So
very different.
Very different. Very strict. I mean, we had the rosary. And we did prayers in school. Yeah. We had communion. We had our confirmation. I mean, like, and the crazy thing is, while I'm going to school, and it's a Catholic school, but my parents are like Baptist. Right. So it's like I grew up with a mix of like, wait, what?
And did one contrast the other? Like, was it very like?
Yes, there was definitely some contrast, because in Catholicism, what I can pronounce it. Yeah. In that, you know, they put a lot of emphasis on the saints. Right. But in the Baptist practice. They're like, oh no, you don't worship anybody else but baby Jesus. Yeah. So all these saints, they gotta go. Yeah. You know, and so it was just like, but wait, but
hang on, I just been told one thing, and now you're telling me
Mary, but they said Mary is. It was just this whole thing or whatever, and but what I have to say is that my parents never made me feel like I had to have a choice. Like, you have to pick.
That's nice.
They never did that, and so if we were gonna have confirmation in school or communion, then we did it. You were part of it, you went through the process, you were included in it, and you felt like you were included, right? And then, but they were like, but that's what we believe in, and we're gonna teach you that too. Yeah. So it was just kind of like, you know, 9 to 5, I was Catholic, and then after 5, I was Baptist. I don't know. But I appreciate that, because it allowed me to see different perspectives. Yeah. And then when I got to college, I was able to, because one thing about Jeanette, she's here. One thing about Jeanette is you're going to do what she tells you to do. So you know, we went to church every Sunday, and we went to revival and all that stuff. But I felt like all of that carried me over to my college days, so that when I was by myself and there was nobody pushing me to go, I was able to make that decision for myself. And I was going for myself. So I wasn't going because, oh my gosh, you know,
someone told you to.
Someone told me to. Like you exactly. I was making that decision for me and choosing.
You're given the choice. Exactly.
Yeah. So I appreciated it. Thanks, Mom. After all those years, and now it's trying to build. It's trying to teach my children to have that relationship, and kind of not choosing for them, but like saying, okay, you know, like you have to have a relationship. To me, it's like you have to build that relationship for yourself. I can't do it for you, right? Here's the way I know how. Yes. But ultimately, it's your decision.
Well, here are the tools. And exactly. It's up to you to run with it and do as you wish.
Absolutely.
And,
because that's just not something that I can do for you.
Yeah.
You have to do that for yourself.
You have a more relaxed way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Because your parents were.
Yeah, they were
strong with it, but they let you make the choice.
Yes.
And that's obviously why you make the choice. You let your children make the choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's so weird because, like I said, they're here now, and it's and they're still very immersed in their faith, and they pray multiple times a day. And my kids are like, what does grandma do? And I'm sitting here like,
yeah, well,
she's praying for the
even
10th time. It's kind of like,
I had that.
Okay.
I had that when I first came here.
yes,
So my husband would pray before we ate.
yes,
And I'm not accustomed to doing that.
wow.
I'd be like,
oh my god!
I just wasn't raised with it.
Yes.
So I wasn't. I was like, okay, I gotta get used to this.
Right.
Something new. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Again, just different ways.
Yes.
Different way of being.
Now with your son, we talked a little bit about just he's going to be brought up in that mixed environment.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be able to see different experiences. He's going to get to experience London and here and lots of different places. What is something that you're determined, you're adamant for him to have or experience or be a part of? Something that you feel like, as a mother, I owe it to him.
Well, I think again, a huge part for me. I want him to travel a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge thing for me because travel isn't something you can learn at school.
Mm-hmm.
You can only learn that if you're fortunate enough to be able to afford to take your children abroad. And I had that. We all went abroad. Everybody has a passport from the minute you're born in England. The minute you're born, you get a passport.
Yeah.
If you don't have a passport, it's like, what?
It's like,
that's weird. It's like
it
a
is.
driver's license or something.
Yeah.
And so we're raised with travelling, and I remember we would go to Portugal, and we would go over to different parts of Europe or a quick trip every summer. And so, and then my parents took us to Africa one year. We went there for 4 weeks.
4 weeks. Wow.
Yeah, we had after we had the fire in the house.
Yes.
We were talking.
Yes.
Yeah, so to just get away and decompress, we
So
went
you guys
away.
went to Africa for 4 weeks after that. Wow.
And so we went to a place called Gambia.
Yes.
And that was the first time I ever saw third world living in front of my eyes. And we went and we did a trip. We saw a school, and we just drove around and we saw the land and how people were living in corrugated iron shacks. And I went to one of the ladies that worked at the hotel, because we were there for a month, right?
Yes, yeah.
So all the people that worked at the hotel, we knew them all.
Yes.
The entertainment staff.
Yeah.
So we went back to one of their houses, and I remember being like, this is how you live. And just seeing kids in like warm clothes and just the happiness within them. So travel, basically. I want my son to be able to experience that. A world outside of this world.
Exactly.
You know,
it's not just this.
Yes, a world outside of here, a world
stay
outside
inside
of
the
England. You know,
Yeah.
he's been to Greece already. He was a baby when we went to Greece, but we will travel and see the world. And my husband travels with his work, so any opportunity where we could go with him, there's going to be travel. So just see the world, and open your eyes and your brain and your mind and your soul, and that will give you the scope of like what there is for you to accomplish, or what choices you have.
Yes.
So that, and he's going to grow up in the screen era. So I am big on play. With me and my husband, we're very relaxed with the iPad. Kid can have it as much or as little as he likes to a certain degree. As long as I see you put it down and play with your toys and do some other things, and you're interested in other things, then I'll be relaxed.
Yes.
The minute you're not doing that and you're continuously like this, that's the minute we go, okay, it's shut down time. Now you're only gonna get a certain amount of minutes time per day.
Yeah.
But so I need him to be immersed in that. I'm about to enroll him in some soccer classes, basketball classes, and so that you're active and you're out there and important. Doing. Yeah, I don't want you. I don't want you stuck inside on a screen.
Exactly.
I can't have that.
No.
Maybe because I didn't have that. Computers weren't a big thing.
No, we didn't.
I had like that old school like Nintendo.
I had the very first Nintendo, like the very, very, very first one.
The
little box.
Yes, and it had that. Yeah, me and my best friend.
And then you had to blow
bubble
on the
bubble was one of the Mario. That was the first Mario Kart.
Yep.
Super Mario Kart.
Yep.
With the little square.
Yes, the little square.
Very basic. Yep. Yeah, all the leads.
Exactly. And we had the one with the gun. So we shot the ducks.
The ducks. Yeah.
Yes,
we did that.
But it
was just a bit of playtime.
It was simple.
It was like, you know, after a while I was like, I'm bored.
Exactly.
Now I actually want to go outside and play. But in today's world, it's so amazing. We just bought one of those
virtual ocular thingies.
I got the Quest, something Quest.
Yes.
So that's what we bought. Well, we bought our 5-year-old for
She said
I say it really was for everybody, but it was to him. But it was that's the thing, isn't it? I was like, wow, this is where the world is heading.
Yes, it is.
So you just like 3D go shopping, and it's amazing. You put it on and you go under the sea.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're actually under the sea. Crazy. Yeah, and you can play golf on it.
Yeah.
And, anyway, so again, I don't want these things to be
to take away from the
fun
exactly.
of you've got the rest of your life to sit in front of a computer.
Exactly.
Should that be your job or part of your world? But you're a kid. You need to just do all these different things. Yeah, have fun and just enjoy the ride. My dad always used to say, enjoy these days. These are the days. These are the days.
And now
enjoy
that you're grown up,
and I used to be like, shut up, Dad. You don't
exactly.
Know like you don't understand what it's like being a teenager.
Exactly.
I was.
Now.
Fun.
Exactly.
Your worry is your homework.
Exactly.
Your worry is where I'm going out with my friends at the weekend. And then you get older, and
then all of that just changes.
Yeah, it does. In some ways for the better.
Yeah.
In some ways not.
So, exactly. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So real quickly, because we're actually getting close to time, this is crazy. But Tanya, do you want to tell us what you do for a living?
Yes, of course. I'm an esthetician.
Okay.
By trade. But I work for a wonderful company called Sweet Peach.
Love them.
Yes. Where we specialise in waxing and sugaring. Any part of the body, basically. And in today's world, everybody wants to get their hoo-ha wax.
Yes.
Their Brazilian done.
Yes.
They want their hair gone.
Yes.
They don't want that hair. Or they want a nice, neat, trim, tidy bikini line.
Exactly.
For their holiday or, their vacation. So I would say, 70 to 80% of the day is working on men and women. And
men?
guys come in and get their Brazilian done.
I mean, that's so
it used to be called like back sack and crack.
Limited of me to say men, right? Because my husband gets his bushwhacked. The one on top of his eyes, y'all. The one on top of his
eyebrows.
Yeah, exactly, because he had a
we
unibrow when I met him.
Come in and they get their eyebrows done, and we get backs, chests, legs.
Woo, man.
Yeah, everything.
I think about if you guys ever seen the 40-year-old version when he goes and gets
yes.
Oh my gosh. He's like,
well, I think you know what I've learned through I've worked for Sweet Peach for it'll be 10 years this year, which is incredible to say. And men can handle external pain. A punch to the face.
Yes.
They can get into it. They do boxing and fighting. But women can take some internal pain.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
We can handle some period cramps. We can handle some crazy hormones. Listen. We can handle pain that comes from within. That's the pain that men can't take. They can't take that.
Yeah.
And I think that's because we deal with a cycle every month that brings a lot of pain.
Having babies.
And birthing children.
I'm just
So all that is internal, right?
Yes,
so that's the
exactly.
huge, definitely like
Yeah.
that, because I had men come in and they're trying to hold it down, trying to be strong or macho. But you know, my regular male clients though are they good. They used to it, and they men don't want hair the way women don't want hair. Like it's not really just a thing that's for women. It's not. It's like it's totally acceptable.
Exactly.
And, you know, I had guys come in, they're like, other guys come here, and I'm like, yes, all the time, every day. So don't worry, you're not the only one.
Exactly.
But yeah, so we primarily deal with that. So I like to think of us as estheticians. We do de-hair you, but I tell you, it's like a little therapy room.
Yes!
I'm telling you, because when we're naked, we're vulnerable.
Exactly.
Aren't we?
So I wanted to mention this because I was thinking about what we're going to talk about today, and I was just like, I remember, so I went in and so I'm going to put my best friend on blast. I won't say her name. So I won't say your name. I'm going to put my best friend on blast. So before I even thought about going and getting waxed, she told me about her experience, and she was like, okay. So she was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to pull the gun and I'm just going to go for it and I'm going to do it. I was like, what?
Yeah.
No. And she's like, I'm going to do it, Harli. I said, okay. And so she lives in Miami. So she goes, and then when she comes back, I was like, okay. So how did it go? Tell me about it. And she was like, okay, so I got a glass. I drank a glass of wine before I went, so I wanted to be nice and relaxed, and I was just like trying to get my mind right, getting into it. And she said, I went there, and I sat on the table, and she told me to spread them, and then she did the first strip, and then I got up, put my clothes on, and
wow, from the first strip?
The first one, I was
She's
just
like, I'm done.
What?
I'm trying to think.
Said, no.
I can get most women through it, and guys, I can get most of them through it, because I can't have you leave here with half. How weird does that look? Half of your vagina's got hair, and the other half is naked. It's like this.
I was just like, really? She's like, I can do it.
Yeah.
I was like, and that's the thing with me. It's like, okay, if I'm gonna start, I'm gonna finish it. I can't. I'm gonna have to finish it. But
we get through it, and we have a lot of fun. I see my clients once a month.
Yep.
I see my clients more than I see my friends. I don't see my friends once a month.
Yeah.
No, but in today's world, how crazy it is, we barely talk once a month. But I've gotten to know such a wonderful group of people over the 10 years. And I literally have had some clients that still come into Sweet Peach to see me for 10 years.
Absolutely.
Month, which is solid and amazing.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
it becomes very special. So my clients are very close to me.
When somebody's coming in and you could tell that they're nervous, you could tell that like, oh my gosh, they're like, because I felt it like the first time. It was just kind of
you
like,
are nervous.
oh my god.
Yeah, and then you've got to lay there naked in front of a stranger.
Yes.
So part of our job
Yes.
is to make you feel comfortable and to make it seem like it's not a big deal, because it isn't to us.
Yes.
Like us looking at naked bodies is like a manicurist looking at a hand.
Yes.
Or a nerd looking at a computer.
Yeah.
Or an engineer looking at, whatever it is your job, that's your norm.
Yes.
And for me, looking at vaginas is our norm.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bother us. I'm more interested in, what did
We
you do this
weekend? Yeah, we walk in, like when I walk in, it's like we're already off to the conversation.
We'll leave off from where we
Yes.
started last time.
Exactly.
So I'll be like, right, so last time you were here, you were telling me that this happened. So where are we now with that?
What's happening? Exactly.
Clients, we chat about everything, and it's nice. That you build that rapport and that relationship, and it's special. It's nice. So it's so much more than just waxing a vagina.
It is.
It really is. It's way more than that, and I love that in this world that I've been in since I left school. I went to beauty school when I left high school. I didn't go to college. I went to beauty school, which in England you go for 3 years.
Wow.
And you become an esthetician, a masseuse, and a nail tech in one.
Okay.
And so when you go and work in a salon, you do everything.
Everything. Okay.
My day is booked out with a massage, then a manicure, then half a leg wax. So it's. And then when I first came here, and I was like, right, I had to figure out that I'm called an esthetician, not a beauty therapist. And I had to figure out, there's state board. We don't have that in England. There's none of that.
But you're in school for 3 years, though.
Right. Well,
you see what I'm saying?
You get your certificate, everything that you get in school is what gives you the okay to go ahead and do what you do.
Exactly.
To me, that's the point of going to school. Right?
Exactly.
But here, no, there's a governing board that has to come in and.
Exactly.
But that's fine. It's the way. It's the different. Again, it was another difference.
Yes.
In the two, and I had to get my head around it. So I got my head around that, and I got my license as an esthetician. I said I'll start there, and then at the time I was working. So I got my visas to work, but I didn't have my license. So I was like, what do I love doing? I was like, I love dogs, I love animals. I'm going to get a job in a doggy daycare. So me and my husband used to go shopping in Virginia Highlands. There was a boutique store there, Bill Harmon.
Yes.
He had and so we would go there shopping, and he was shopping. My husband loves to shop, and I was just like, I'm going to go for a walk because there's beautiful little shops. And I came across a doggy daycare. I walked in and I was like, are you hiring? And they were like, actually, we're doing interviews today. Do you want to interview now? So I interviewed, got the job. I was just working there, helping out with the doggy daycare and in the retail section. Met a lovely group of people. And then Raquel, who owns Sweet Peach, she had not long opened her salon, which was a few doors up in Virginia Highlands. And she would Glamour Paws, which was the place of the doggy daycare, used to be where Sweet Peach was. So their old mail used to go there. Well, Raquel used to bring the mail in. So she would bring the mail in, and I would be at front desk, and we got chatting, and I said, I'm trying to get my license. She said, well, when you get your license, let me know. So I did, and that was how my journey started at Sweet Peach. And here we are, like 7 locations, 7 locations on, and 10 years on.
Wow.
And crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Those connections, I tell you.
You just don't know. The way the path leads you is incredible.
Yes.
That's why my philosophy and the way that I look at life is just be patient and wait.
Yes.
Like, it's good to go after things.
Yeah.
But it's also good to just sit and be patient.
Be still.
Because the right things will fall into your path that's meant to happen.
Yes.
Will come to you, and it will feel right.
I feel like we just defined purpose.
Did we just define purpose?
I see how you did that there. I like that. I feel like we just did. Right. Be still. Yeah. Because if it's meant to be, if it's your purpose, it will come.
It will find you.
It will.
It will.
It will.
It will. Because you've got people out there that are hustling and trying to do this and that, trying their hardest, and it's not working.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. And to me, that's like, it's not give up, but just give it time.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, maybe I'm very laid back though, so I'm Scorpio by nature. I am Scorpio, but I'm Libra by nature, so I'm just very chilled. And balanced.
I think that's what it is. The balance, right? Yeah. Because I am apparently, I took this assessment, and I'm ambitious. I'm off the chart ambitious.
Oh, okay.
The general population is here. I'm
you're
over
the
here.
other end.
Yeah, and
that's
the facilitator was like, you only see that in athletes. And he was like, do you? I said, I used to be a runner. He was like, well, that would explain it.
Yeah.
Because
you have to have that drive to do
you
that.
You do to be, especially when you get to a certain level, right? But
what star sign are you?
You said what?
What star sign are you?
I'm a Leo.
Okay.
So I love the jungle.
Uh-huh.
I love the jungle. Yes. But then again, I'm kind of like two halves of my parents. Because they're total opposite. My mother is like that. Oh my God, here she comes. You can hear her coming from a mile away. And my dad is the son.
Opposites attract.
Exactly, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I very much have both of them.
Bit of both. Yeah.
So I could be very relaxed, very chill.
Yeah.
But
you could also be crazy and out there and
yes. I'm that ratchet in me. I can admit it.
You can do both.
Yes.
That's good.
And on that note, I think we've talked a lot. But well, thank you so much, Tanya,
My pleasure.
Coming on and sharing your experience with, English Girl in America. I love that. I love that title.
Did you like that?
Yes, I did. I'm going to steal it.
You go with it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, it was amazing. And, I look forward to continue to stalking you as per usual.
Yeah, we can always do another podcast.
We sure can.
I'm happy to do another episode with you. I've got tons of stuff to talk about.
Yes.
Music, that's my big thing.
Absolutely. Okay, so Tanya's coming back, and y'all will be, you guys
we'll
are in for a surprise.
Time.
Yes, you're in for a treat. So, looking forward to that. But thank you so much for listening, for tuning in. We drop episodes every Monday on all of your podcast listening platforms, and we're also on social media, so on Facebook and on Instagram, Inside the Bubble HG. And if you were just amazed and very happy to listen to this pod, drop us a review. We'd love to hear from you. And you know what I always say, there's purpose in your story.
I hope you enjoyed our show today. Hit the subscribe button and share. Share this pod with your family, with your friends, with your girlfriends, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Inside the Bubble with HG. Keep the conversation going. Drop us a heart emoji. Engage with us. We would love to hear from you. New episodes are dropping every Monday on your podcast streaming platforms. And remember, there's purpose in your story.